Welcome to the Brent Gove podcast with co-host Eric Lofholm. We are building 1 million agents in 100 countries in 10 years. Now, here's your host, Brent Gove.
Hi, this is Eric Lofholm. I want to welcome all of you to the Brent Gove podcast. We've got another great podcast lined up for you today. We are talking about how to build a team in 2025 with Brent Gove and our special guest, Randy Bird. Brent, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right. Well, great to be here, everyone. And yes, I have Coach Randy Bird. He's famous. If you don't know him, he's famous. He runs a track boss. Everybody loves him. Randy, it's so good to have you on today. Thanks for being on.
Dude, my pleasure, Brent. Good to see you and Eric.
Right on, right on. We're thrilled to have you. So Randy and I were talking about the traditional ways teams have been built for the past 25 years. There really no such thing as a team 25 years ago. People had maybe a buyer's agent. That was it. They really didn't even have assistants. My parents were in real estate 55 years. We would lick the envelopes and send out 100, 200 mailers that your kids were your assistants. And of course, then teams took off. So Randy and I are going to go through, just take like 2 minutes on the evolution of what a team looked like. And then we're going to share with you a dynamic new breakthrough of what we think it should look like in 2025. And if you're listening, go, I don't have a team. You might want one after this. And it's going to be totally different than what you're thinking. So Randy, why don't you kind of give them the history of what a typical team looks like?
Yeah, that's a great segment into the, coaching for Tom Ferry for years. One of the emphasis I had was helping agents build and scale teams. They have individual agents and they're wanting to expand either through necessity, through transactions or whatever that may be. And so they hire, buyer's agents. And typically the first thing in the team is you hire an assistant. That's always the first thing we coach about is you be in the dollar producing activity, getting out there and then have an assistant where you can leverage those things. The next step would be buyer's agents. And it could be 1, 2, 10, 25, like you had in the height of your number one Remax team in California career. And then listing specialist, then operations manager. But when we always get to the buyer's agents, it always creates a challenge because in my example, I had a team small in comparison to yours, but we have 5 agents on my buyer's agents on my team. And I train them for a year or sometimes 2. And then they'd get good, they'd get proficient, and then they would leave and they'd open a brokerage on the other side of town or they join my competitor and they take everything we taught them in. And so we were working contractually, trying to hold them down basically. And that was typically what a team looked like. And now through the last probably 7 years, teams have become very, very dominant. Matter of fact, all the top producers in the country are all large teams, and teams are where it's at. It's good for the agent to get leads and opportunities given to them, and it's good for the team leader to leverage out themselves for buyers and sometimes sellers and so on. So, the problem with this is it's really difficult to retain people, right? It's somewhat of a mill of people that you're going through this cycle of training. They start doing transactions. You're on a 50-50 split is a very typical component of being on a team in the beginning, sometimes worse. Like when you start your coaching career, you're on a very difficult split against the coaching company. Same thing with the team. As you get better in that team, you start doing production, you can go up from 50-50 to 60 and maybe even 70, potentially 80 or 90% splits. Well, then it becomes a different problem for the team leader because then it's not profitable for the team leader for those particular agents. So there's always this dynamic of how do we keep the balance in the team between servicing the clients, the buyers and sellers, and then helping the agent, pursue their career both financially and in growth. So you and I were talking, and man, my mind was completely blown when we started talking about this new concept, and I believe it's the future concept of real estate teams. So Brent, why don't we go over that? Why don't we talk about that for your listeners?
Absolutely. So, I remember putting new agents on a 50-50 and it worked fine the first year. And then like, okay, what's he doing to get half of your check? Well, hey, you wouldn't have a check if I didn't teach you how to go do a listing presentation or a buyer presentation or show property. But eventually, some teams will keep them there at 50%. They're always just taking half of everything they earn. And this has worked. It has worked. But what happens for, I would say, 90% of the teams, I really believe it's 90% or more, if they don't give them a bump, they lose them. So, okay, I'll give you 60, I'll retain 40. And then within a year or two, they're going to leave. Like, don't leave. I'll give you 70%. I'll take 30. Well, the problem is if you don't retain balance, you go bankrupt. It's if you don't have balance, you go bankrupt. And what do you mean by that? Add up what you're paying for your office, add up what you're paying for the copiers, add up what you're paying for the assistants, what you're paying Zillow, lead generation, radio, marketing, all that stuff. Most people will be running easily 20 to 25% overhead. So if they're on a 70-30, congratulations. Let's say you're 25%, you're getting 5% every time they make a sale, which isn't much. Now, eventually, I put those 70% on 80-20s because I was not really even aware of my overhead. I mean, because I'm doing sales too. All my money's getting thrown in there. And so really, you're losing 5% every time they sell a home. You don't even know it. So this is this balance to bankruptcy thing. And so you got to keep them at 50, but they always feel like you're taking from them. And eventually they leave. And some big teams have got it dialed in and it works. But for 90% of the people who do teams, it doesn't. So what I was telling Randy is the number one agent who's just a Hispanic agent, doesn't matter if they were Hispanic, but the number one Hispanic agent in America does not live in Arizona or Texas or Florida. She's in Minnesota, Artemisa. She did 227 sales last year. You know how she did it? By having the team. It's like the quota, the 7-Eleven, right? And so the team is this. She had leads. The number one thing you need to do if you're listening to this podcast is master lead generation. Well, that's what people do. They're like, I need a team. I've got more leads than I can handle. What she did was brilliant is she got 2, 3, 4 agents that go, look, they were wanting to be in real estate. They were new. They were excited. They had a good energy. And this is what I was telling Randy, but they're doing Rover or Uber Eats or driving Uber to supplement their income while they're trying to figure out real estate. And so what she did, she said, hey, Rover's not in the real estate field. Neither is Uber Eats. How would you like to show property for me? Because I need help. I'll pay you $25 an hour. And in Minnesota, it's good. You could pay 30 an hour. It doesn't matter, 35 an hour. But she paid him 25 an hour in Minnesota. She says, Brent, if it takes them 4 hours on a Saturday to show property, that's $100. Usually they buy a home the first or second time out. Now, let's say every time they did it, it took 4 times out for 4 hours. So what am I paying out? $400. If the average check is 10 grand, I'm netting 9,600 a deal, which means I'm now on a 96% split. They're on a 4% split. Now, if you went to people, hey, come to work for me, I'll give you 4% of every deal. I'll retain 96%. They never agree. But if you say, hey, the second you done show them property, I will Zelle, Venmo you, or ACH you, whatever it is. If it's 2 hours, it's $50. If it's 4 hours, I'll send you $100. People work for these wages and they're excited because they can stay. They're opening lock boxes. They're showing homes. They're getting more proficient at showing property. They're still in the real estate game. Well, now she has about 10 people. It's like Uber. You need a ride. You hit yes. And then some Uber drivers see that. They go, I'll take it. So she says, hey, if someone wants to see property today at 1:00 in this part of town, she sends it to the list of 10 people. I'll do it. I'll get someone else at 4:00 this evening. I'll do it. And then this evening, you're out to dinner with friends or your kids. It's a birthday party, but you have that one client wants to see that one home. It's only 25 minutes across town, but that's 25 minutes there, 25 minutes. It's an hour at 7 at night. Puts it on the list. Who wants it? I'll do it. Someone runs over, shows property. They get done in an hour. She sends them $25 on Zelle. So she pays immediately. But if you look at it, all 10 of those agents are on 96.4. They get 4%. She gets 96%. It's brilliant. But listen to me, everything they do, and this is what Blue Randy, they're at 100%. Like if they do their own open houses, they do anything, they're getting 100%. She's not taking 50% of their deal. They're thrilled to do it. If I were ever to get back into building a team, I would absolutely have about 10 agents that looked good, smelled good, had good energy, were capable of being early, not on time. They don't answer any questions. I'm just here to spoil you. I'm here to bring you a bottled water, cafe mocha. I'm a concierge. You explain to your clients, I cannot be everywhere 24/7. I have a concierge service to spoil you rotten. So this is what I explained to Randy. He's like, this is brilliant because nobody has teams where on 96.4s and you deserve it. You've worked hard. And if you do it the classic way, you eventually get to the point where you're making 5 or 10% a deal. Artemisa makes 96% a deal. She's a very wealthy woman. It is brilliant. Randy, back to you. I wanted you to chime in on some of these thoughts because you were so blown away. Like, this is brilliant. Why didn't we think of this sooner?
Yeah, it's one of those things where you just go, duh, how did I not think of something like this, right? It's because it's traditional. That's the way it's always been done. And that's the way it's been being done until somebody comes and flips the script. You know, something you taught me years ago, Brent, that was brilliant. And I brought it into my system was you don't pay for leads. It's in your documents. I don't pay for leads. I pay for training and coaching and support and all those things, because leads are the challenge in all teams. The agents, they expect them, they get entitlement around them. They think they're horrible when somebody doesn't answer the phone. The team providing the leads is always the challenge. This is brilliant because now the team leader provides all the leads, they qualify them either in-house, ISA, whatever it may be. And then you just set up an Uber Eats for everybody that wants to go show properties. And what I loved about this when you said it is my brain went, oh, we could set some SOPs, some standard operating procedures around this. You have to be early. Your car has to be clean. You have to dress a certain way. You can set the boundaries on this just like Uber does for their drivers, right? You need a certain car. You need certain vehicle age. You need it to be clean. And then guess what? The client reviews them after every showing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stars. And if you're not a 5-star agent, then you're going to be moved out of rotation. It's brilliant.
Yes.
And there's no capital expenditure to start this. Typically, when I'm bringing on buyer's agents, I'm sending them to trainings. I'm training them. I'm buying them signs. I'm buying them lock boxes. I'm putting gas in their car half the time. Whatever you need to do, this is an independent contractor relationship. It's legit. And we're going to talk more about this, I'm sure.
Absolutely. It's funny. So think of the old way, 50-50 split. They were new. I did the open house with them. I converted the lead. I went back to the office, showed them to do the MLS. I showed property with them. I showed them to use lockboxes. They want to make an offer. I wrote the offer with them. I did the counteroffer. I did the addendum. I did the request. I explained what disclosures were. I did the whole thing. And if we were in 10 grand, they got $5,000 and I got $5,000. But I have overhead. So my 5 was never 5. It was more like 3. It's more like 3. They get 5, I get 3, and I did everything. This way you could do everything. You get 96, and you have assistants to help write the contract, and then you modify it, make it right. This is brilliant. It's easy. Get your life back. This is how I build a team in 2025 and beyond. And so, Randy, let's get together. Let's do it. So, Randy, any final word on this? Because we got to wrap up. I want it to be short, powerful, and to the point.
Brent, you are one of the top teams in the nation. So for you to feel this way, it means a lot for a lot of people. I have 5 current buyer's agents that own competing brokerages with me. I'm currently with EXP. They own other brokerages competing against me. They got my listing agreements. They got my marketing materials. They got my style. They got everything I've ever done. This is a way to keep people engaged with you. And by the way, in our model, they can have a half split, a quarter split. There's a lot of different things that can benefit them, and they can have the freedom to do what they want. So I love that.
I love it. And here's a cool thing. Let's say one of your buyer's agents is selling so many homes on their end, they don't want to do the Uber Eats or the Rover. It's kind of like, I don't want $25 an hour. I'm kicking butt. So you lose them. Well, when that person was selling 40 or 50 homes a year, it hurt because you're losing. You lose them. Yes. You lose 30, 40, 50, 60, 70,000 a year. I remember Andrea Parker, her first year, she sold 58 homes. She made 188,000. I made 188,000. The next year she sold 60. And the next year she sold 50 at 9. I was making so much. And then the 4th year she moved to Texas and I lost her. I lost over 100,000 a year like that. That hurts. If you lose 2 or 3 of your showing agents, you lost 2 or 3 people that you're paying 25 or 30 bucks an hour to. That's it. And you replace them. That's it. 0 financial hit to you if you lose some of your, and you want to lose your best people. You want to see them be baby eagles, fly the next and go sell 40, 50, 60 homes. And it doesn't hurt you a bit. The old way, it kind of hurt. So this is brilliant. Randy, Coach Randy Bird, thank you for being on. Check out Attract Boss. If you want to learn how to lead generate like an amazing human being, look up Randy. What is it? Attractboss.com. What is it?
Yeah, attractboss.com or Coach Randy Bird. You can find me in all the social channels there.
Awesome. Randy, love you, man. He's at my home in the Caribbean right now. I'm actually in Northern California. And Eric is here in Northern California with me. Eric, thanks for being on today and helping co-host this event.
Great message, guys. For all of you listening, I encourage you to listen to this podcast multiple times to put the best ideas that Brent and Randy shared into your subconscious. Please share this podcast with your team and with your organization. That's going to wrap up another great edition of the Brent Gove podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks, guys. Okay, so here's the deal. We have incredible information, video content on my YouTube channel. Go over there and make sure you subscribe. And it's vital that you ring the bell. If you ring that bell every time I put out new content, It's actually going to notify you, and you can get the latest and greatest of what's happening at EXP. Now, don't forget to like me on Facebook, so you can also get that content, and then follow me on Instagram. We're hitting everybody high, low, and in between. We're trying to get the information out there so you can build big businesses, revenue share organizations. So go to YouTube right now. Please subscribe and ring that bell. Like me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram. We'll see you out there.